All right, today we're diving into a figure who was literally born from a dead universe, a cosmic entity known as Valerius. But he's not just some comic book character. He's more like a philosophical archetype brought to life, a walking, talking embodiment of some of history's most radical and most dangerous ideas. Everything we're about to unpack really comes down to this one single chilling question. It's the hook that pulls you right into the abyss with him. Seriously, think about it. What happens when a discarded idea, a forgotten failure, suddenly wakes up and gets hungry? So, let's start where the story itself begins, with the first completely enigmatic appearance of Valerius. See, he isn't born in some big flash of light. He just emerges from the ruins of a creation that's already dead and gone. This quote just sets the tone so perfectly. This isn't your typical story of heroes and villains, no. This is more like a post-apocalyptic myth. The stage is a dead cosmos, the so-called world forge, and the only actor left is this one single shadow that decided to stand up. So what even is he? The source material describes him as a total paradox. He's not a man, not a dragon, but this terrifying fusion of both. And his whole goal isn't to seek the light or find salvation. No, his goal is to consume the light. He's a predator that hunts existence itself. The scale of his power is just insane. This isn't about physical strength. His right hand wields dark lightning that's described as the laughter of the void itself. His left hand is a puppet master for the dead, and his voice? His voice is literally the sound of reality coming undone, a song that unbuilds the stars. You know, to really understand a monster, you have to understand the system that made him. And that journey takes us right back to the very beginning of everything, to a place called the Smith's Cursed Forge. So I want you to imagine a cosmic blacksmith, this being named Alpheus, standing at a great anvil. This is the World Forge, the literal birthplace of all realities. Every single spark that flies from his hammer becomes a new universe, forged from the raw stuff of hopes and fears. For eons, this system worked like a charm. Think of it like a cosmic factory with a really strict quality control department. The smith forges worlds. The ones that are flawed, the ones he calls nightmares, they get chucked into a pit. And down there, a great dragon named Barbatos acts as the cosmic garbage disposal, recycling all the failed material. It's simple, it's efficient, and it's orderly. But here's the thing about systems. They break. And in this case, the breaking point came when the cosmic garbage disposal developed a mind of its own. This is the great betrayal, the moment the dragon turned on its master. For ages, Barbatos just does his job, faithfully eating these broken worlds. But then he consumes one that's so twisted, so malicious, that it infects him with an idea. It whispers to him, why be a servant in the dark when you could be a master? He has this sudden horrible realization that he's starving while his creator basks in the light. And in one final act of rebellion, he consumes his creator, Alpheus. And the consequence of that one act is absolute. The engine of creation grinds to a halt. The fires go out. So now, there's no one forging new worlds, and there's no one recycling the old, failed ones. There is only a growing, festering pile of nightmares in the dark. So that's the stage, right? A dead creator, a silent forge, and a mountain of nightmares. It's from this cosmic decay that Valerius crawls out. But not just as a monster. He emerges as a philosopher, with a terrifyingly coherent worldview. This quote right here, this is the key to his whole deal. He's the ultimate consequence of that broken system. He's a discarded idea that somehow gained awareness, agency, and an appetite. He isn't just a failure. He's a failure that decided to forge its own purpose. And right here, we hit the first pillar of his philosophy, the will to power. From his point of view, the Smith's order was nothing but a prison. So destroying what's left of it isn't a crime. It's an act of liberation. It's him asserting his own will over the will of a dead god who threw him away. So how does he go about proving his philosophy? Not with swords, but with a weapon that is so much more insidious, the black multiversal flame. And this is the critical point. It doesn't destroy matter. It attacks the very concepts, the very meaning that holds reality together. This is exactly what happens when that black flame touches a soul. It's a philosophical weapon that literally inverts morality. It proves his point by stripping away the illusions of good and evil. Under its heat, a hero's virtue is exposed as nothing more than a fear of the dark. And in the end, the only truth left is power and hunger. And this is the final piece of his code, amor fati, which means a love of one's fate. He was born from cosmic garbage, designed to be nothing. But instead of despairing, he embraces it completely. He takes his cursed nature and transforms it into his greatest strength, his ultimate purpose.
Now, this whole philosophy, it isn't just theoretical. It all culminates in a physical and metaphysical transformation, the final evolution of the nightmare that learned to eat.
That shadow that stood up, it's gone. In its place is his true form, a draconic vampire, a living 10-foot-tall monument to his own philosophy. He sheds the last little bit of pretense of being anything other than what he truly is, a consumer. And this right here is a fundamental shift in the laws of the cosmos. Darkness is no longer just a void, an absence of light. Because of Valerius, it is now an active, intentional presence. It has a purpose, it has a will, and here it is, his ultimate declaration. He completely rejects the idea of creating something better, of being a higher man. He positions himself as the final stage of existence, the end man. His role isn't to build a new world, but to be the digestive fire that proves the old one was never real to begin with. This earns him his final title, the Over-Dragon. And it's such a chilling twist on Nietzsche's Overman. You know that old saying, if you gaze into the abyss gazes also into you? Well, he didn't just stare into it. He stared it down until the abyss itself blinked, and then he tore out its heart and wore it like a crown. And so we end where we began. But the question has changed. We've always been told that if you look into the abyss, it looks back at you. But Valerius forces us to ask something far, far more terrifying. What happens when the abyss blinks? What comes after the end of everything?